Hi everyone, so I'm going to show you how to make a skull candle. This is like a pillar candle with skulls on it. If you don't have a candle mold that already has skulls carved into it. And also I'm doing this as cheaply as possible. So I have this little skull mold, which is actually a silicone ice cube and like chocolate mold. But I use it for candle making, and I've got a pillar candle that I got from the pound shop, which is the UK equivalent of a dollar store, and I've melted some wax and poured it into the mold. You can sit there with a large candle from the pound shop and just keep dripping wax in until the mold's full, or you can do like a bain marie and put a little bit of wax in and melt it down to fill the molds. I make candles now and again, so I've actually got like a bag of soy wax, like pellets that you melt to make candles. So I use that and leave that to set. And you want it to be quite set. You don't want to have the skulls be soft and still malleable, because you could squish them as you're handling them. Mine were a little bit soft because I used soy wax, because that's what I've got. But this works equally as well with paraffin wax. I've done it the same with paraffin wax. And I've made the little skulls. I've only used half the mould, so I haven't done like the back of the head or anything, because I'm going to stick these onto the candle. So I'll just put those to the side a second. And then what I'm going to do, obviously if there's any like sort of sticking out bits or any like runoff or anything that's on the candles, you can just peel that off. And then I'm just working out where I want to position the two skulls. And what you need to do is, I'm using a palette knife here, but you can use like a butter knife or something. Just scrape the wax down a little bit so it creates like a flat surface for you to stick the skull on. Don't worry about damaging the appearance of the candle or anything. We cover that up with the second step later. Then I'm using a little candle and dripping the wax onto the pillar candle in that area that I've flattened out. And this is like the glue that's going to hold the skull on. Obviously it's all wax, so it'll all melt when the candle's burnt. And I'm going to use that to hold the skull in place. And it's worth melting the little back of the skull face a little bit as well. And it will take a few seconds to set, so if it comes off, don't worry about it. Then anywhere where there's any gaps around the edge of the skull, I'm going to drip some wax into there to fill those gaps up. It just makes a more solid connection between the skull and the candle, because otherwise it'll fall off like it did here. This is because I didn't put enough wax in between the two layers. I then put a bit of extra wax in between the skull and the candle. And as you can see, they stayed nice and firm. And here I'm just flattening out a third section to stick the third skull. Because while the pillar candle's rounded, you're only going to have a small surface area touching the back of the skull, and you need it to stick properly. So by flattening it out, it reduces that gap, and it means there's a larger surface area connected to the main body of the candle so that it'll stay in place. And I'm just trimming off what's needed. And like I said, it doesn't matter if it looks like it's knackered the candle, we'll fix that later on. So once you get it so that the skull will sit fairly flush, you need to drip loads of lovely fresh wax onto the area you've just flattened out. So I'm just using this small candle that I've got. I'm trying to finish off this one that I was using earlier. And I'm just dripping wax all over that flattened out area. Obviously, you'll use a bigger candle and keep, watch your fingers. Obviously, this is a project for grown-ups, and obviously, you know, observe fire safety. So don't put the candle down on fabric. Make sure you blow the candle out before you put it down. Put it on a fireproof dish, that sort of thing. And watch you don't burn your fingers. So I'm just dripping plenty of that wax. I don't want to create any gaps. And then just putting that down on a fireproof dish. And then I'm going to hold this skull in place. And that should be nice and secure, but just give it a few seconds to make sure that it's stuck down. And then I'm going to do the same as what I did before, where I drip wax into the cracks around the edge of the skull to make sure it's flush with the pillar candle, and make sure that those gaps are filled to create a larger join between the skull and the pillar candle. And when you're dripping the wax in between the skull and the pillar candle, keep your fingers well out of the way. And I've got this dripping onto a towel, so it's not going to cause any problems on my work surface. The wax is not going to set fire to the tea towel or anything, because as soon as it hits a surface cooler than it sets instantly. But this is just to keep my desk clean. And I'm going to just use the candle to fill in any areas around the skull. You can also use it to melt the very edge of the skull if you want to sort of help blend it in a bit. And I'm just making sure I go all the way around, making sure that skull is nice and secure. Now, obviously, you can put as many candles and as many skulls on the candle as you want. I've just done 3 because I wanted to just show how to make it, and I'm not bothered if the design goes all the way around on my candle. But if you want it to be like a sort of 360 design, by all means, it's up to you. So I'm just filling those gaps in. Just makes it so everything stays in place a lot better. And then if there's any lumps and bumps, you can use the flame of the spare candle to just help melt those down and smooth them over a little bit. Then the next step is to create drips. So drip wax from another candle all the way around your candle, create loads of drips going down. You can keep them the same colour like this one, or add more colours. I ended up adding black wax over the top, and then I've got like a black candle that's like a sort of purpley red colour when it's melted, and I dripped both of those colours over the top like this, and I just kept going until I was happy with the amount of drips and what the candle looked like. Just make sure you go all the way around. Don't stay in one spot for too long, but you want to put enough drips in one area so it runs down the candle like that. So you can see those drips are running down, because you want some long drips, you want some short drips, you want to vary it and vary the thickness. And I just kept doing that until the wax ran out of the candle. This candle is from a pack of cheap taper candles that I got from the pound shop. And for the bit where I used the white, I only used one of those taper candles. And then for the black, I used a taper candle and a small spell candle. And also drip over where the skulls are, so you get drips on them. So, and it just makes it look more uniform, like it'll look more like it's all part of one candle that's been sort of partially melted down as well as decorated over the top. And then once I'd done the white wax, I put some of the black wax from another small candle over the top. Obviously this comes out grey, but if you do more layers, you get a darker black over the top. So I used this black candle first and got this like grey colour, and then I used a taper candle that was quite big that's got like a sort of reddy undertone to it, and went over the top with that. So this is what I'm doing, and I decided to do this because I like how it looks, and you can design your candles to look however you want. You could go, and also you could decorate them to go with whatever colour scheme you're going for. So if you're going for like traditional Halloween colours, you might use orange and blacks and golds and reds over the top. If you're going more for sort of autumn, you could go with the autumn colours, which are very similar, or you could do, I don't know, silver and gold over the top. You can do whatever colour you like. You can do your favourite colour. And it just gives it that finishing touch, and just makes it look quite funky and quite cool in my opinion. So I'm going to switch now and show you what it looks like when the candles are finished. I did 2 candles like this from the pound shop, and then I've got an old candle which is half burnt down that I also converted with this. And this is what the candles look like with the reddy black wax over the top. You could do a mixture of black wax and red wax to get this effect if you haven't got a candle that's the same colour as mine. And this is what the Halloween DIY candles look like. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Bless you be, and enjoy Halloween, Samhain, whatever it is you celebrate. Enjoy spooky season, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.